Welcome to Buckets. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. This is your Best Bets episode for Wednesday, March 25th in the association. We'll give you sides, props, and totals to get you set to bet all the action in the association. Got a special guest with us tonight. Not only is Joe Dellera joining me, you can find him on the Cash That podcast. Also, always with me on Monday mornings for the Future Jays. But Gilles Gallant, the man, the myth, the legend, the king of touchdown props, the Triton. Is Triton a term? He's something of 3-pointers props. He does those a lot, and he's got good ones for you tonight. Gilles staying up very late with us tonight as he's on a time zone that I don't even know what the name of it is. Gilles,
it would be Atlantic Standard Time.
Atlantic Standard
fake.
Time.
Maybe we can annex that.
Yeah, it's like a currency, or like sounds like something out of Fallout. That's what that sounds like. But glad to have Gilles with us tonight. Hey, Gilles.
It's good to be here, man. I haven't been here since last playoffs. Slowly climbing out of the weeds of the NFL season after hosting Action Playbook Live each Sunday. So excited to have just shift gears here, do a little bit of NBA, and have a little bit of fun here.
Okay, everything we talk about today can be found in the award-winning Action Network app. It's the best way for you to track your picks. You get up to the second information where the bets and the money are coming in. You can get instant alerts if you sign up for Action Pro for when Sean Kerner puts in a bet, or Nick Giffen, or Calabrese, or Sean Zerillo with all his baseball bets. It's baseball season. You want to be following Sean. You got to sign up for Action Pro if you want to get him first before they move. And if you use promo code POD20, you can get $20 off an annual subscription of Action Pro. Just go to actionnetwork.com/pro. No dilly-dally, no chit-chat. No yapping about various things. Although I will shout out the boys for a very profitable night of betting on the Hornets in the association. It was Hornets Central last night, and of course, most of their bets got home. I think Musa did not get home for Brian, which he was annoyed about. But overall, a very successful night for the Hornets boys, for the Hive, as you see there on youtube.com/the Action Network. The Hive is alive, per our producer, David Payne. We will start with our best bets for Wednesday in the association. Gilles, as you're welcome back, you get first go, buddy. What's your 3-star bet of the night?
Sure. I mean, I think the game that I initially circled was Boston, Oklahoma City. Now, part of it was because that was one of the first games that did have props available as of this time of recording. But I think there's a points line that we could fade in this game. And I think we have to fade Jaylen Brown in this spot. It's at 25.5 right now. Looking through the market right now, the market is trending towards going down. I think the line is a tad inflated just due to recent outputs because he's had 30 or more points in 3 of the last 4. He also had, 30 points against the Thunder last time. But again, no Jason Tatum in that game. And I think the offense with Tatum is still trying to kind of work out some of the kinks because Tatum, you would think he would be more second fiddle, but he's averaging close to like 18 shots a game. Jalen's only averaging 19. Still kind of a 1A, 1B system here. It's not just all Jalen number one option with some leftovers for Tatum. And I think if you see Tatum's minutes, they're kind of increasing each game as they go along. You're going to start to see Jaylen Brown's point prop start to plummet a little bit in the market. So I think we want to get ahead of that. And I haven't even gotten to the fact that they're playing the Thunder, which is just the best defensive matchup when you want to fade a points prop. They rank top 3 in all like the cheap points that I call them, like points off turnovers, second chance points, fast break points. So I think if they're limiting that stuff, that's going to be more difficult for Jaylen Brown to get to 26 points in this game. I think Jalen Williams will likely be back as well, coming back after the last game. That should help with some of the more defensive rotations with Lou Dort. So again, this isn't me saying Jaylen Brown isn't going to score 20 or more points, but I had this closer to 23.5. So I'm going to take the edge here. And I think we'll see it at 24.5 by the morning.
Yeah, fairly big move, down 1.5. Makes sense, though. I will note that with Jason Tatum in the lineup now, the Celtics offense on the floor per NBA.com is only at a 114. It's a little bit higher on Data Baller when you remove low leverage possessions. But the offense has had like a little bit of hiccups. Like it's been a little hiccupy, and that can impact Jaylen Brown. I think the space is a little bit compacted because they operate in kind of the same area. Joe, you have any thoughts on Gilles' 3-star bet of Jaylen Brown under 25.5 points?
Yeah, I mean, Like, I have a season-long bet on Jaylen Brown to go over to average 28 plus, so I hope he gets 25 so it doesn't hurt my bet too badly. But I do think that the idea of this is right, and we were talking about this on the Future Jays episode, talking about how we expected Boston to kind of go through some growing pains when Jason Tatum comes back. And we're, like you said, Matt, we're definitely seeing that. We're definitely seeing that, like, lack of efficiency, a little bit of a, I think that it seems like a little bit of a control problem in terms of who is the alpha dog on the court at any point in time. So that is always a question, and that's definitely always a problem. So tough matchup here for Jaylen Brown.
All right, Joe Dellera, your 3-star bet of the night is...
So I'm going to be staying in the same game, and I'm going to grab SGA over 28.5 points. I think this line is just a touch low here. Shea is notorious for just scoring 30 points a game, averaging 30.3 points per game. And we've kind of seen him in some of these blowout games just come in, make sure he gets to his 20. So we know that there's obviously some floor there. But he's also able to really elevate his game in these spots where they need some additional offensive help here. And the big thing for me is that Boston, they obviously do a pretty good job of limiting looks at the rim just generally, but they're pretty weak actually against pick and roll ball handlers. And we've seen them honestly through just against point guards and lead guards really, really struggle. It's just kind of a shot that they're tending to allow, which is what Shea kind of does. Is just in getting into like the teeth of the defense, getting up mid-range shots. And the way Mazzulla coaches this Boston Celtics team and the way that their entire mentality is like, that's a shot they're just going to live with. And it doesn't matter that Shea is basically the most efficient mid-range shooter in the NBA. They don't care. Like, that's just, they're going to live with it and say the rest of you beat us, because we just don't think that Shea can elevate the team enough, like, to compensate for everybody else kind of getting locked down. So for Shea, over 28.5 points, I really like it. Even over the past couple of seasons, he scored 35, 34, 33, 36 in his last 4 games against the Boston Celtics, including 35 just really like a couple days ago, about like 10 days ago or so. And he played 39 minutes, 35 points in what was a competitive game. It was a 2-point game. So I think we should see another competitive game again. And I think that helps Shea because, obviously when it gets to crunch time, as Jim Turvey would say, he is the clutch player of the year for the MVP, also for the reigning MVP and the MVP favorite. So I like Shea over 28.5 points, and I don't mind 30 plus either.
I am looking up how Shea does when the pace is slower, because the Celtics are an absolutely glacial team. They don't turn the ball over, so there's none of those steals for runouts that he gets. And he does goose those numbers up a little bit with some of those.
So I will say, this season, I've got him in games against like bottom 10 pace. He's averaging 29.1. But I do think that some of it's like a little skewed, because if you look at some of like the win-loss margin, like if you start going to say like 20 points, which he's got a couple of, he's only 3 for 6 in those instances. But in games where these games were basically decided by fewer than 20 points, then we're seeing, 29.6. So it's a little bit better of like a hit rate in that regard. And obviously he went under against the New York Knicks.
He is 11 and 12 against this line, against teams with a pace below 105. So I think this might be a sweat for you, but I understand the logic of the Celtics are going to be like, you can take all the mid-range shots you want, buddy, just don't take threes.
Yeah.
Because that does kind of, and the other thing is like their 3-point defense has not been great this year. The Celtics are actually allowing, well, that's a whole other thing that I have to figure out, like a great mystery for me that I can't understand that's been driving me nuts is, this is a tangent. You're just all coming along for the ride with me on this, is there are 4 teams that are top 10 in defense who are bottom 10 in opponent 3-point rate. So that means that they allow the most. So 4 of the top 10 defenses are amongst the top 10 teams that allow the most 3-point attempts. 4 of them. Then the Heat, which are 5th in defense, and the Raptors, which are 8th in defense, are just outside of the top 10 in 3-pointers allowed. So a lot of the elite defenses are allowing a lot of threes this year, which makes no fucking sense to me. And it was one thing with the Thunder. And now I'm just trying to understand if everybody's doing like, are you all doing the voodoo thing where you leave guys open and they just miss? What are you all doing? So
I think I was seeing something about, I don't think it was Boston though. I forget which team it was, but it was big. I think it might have been Miami. And it was about how like they're giving up threes, but they're not like really popping as like contested threes either, because of, I guess maybe like the way the tracking data is, like, and the way that they're like trying to get into their like line of vision. But it's just like the fast closeout, even though it's not necessarily going to be considered like a super contested three, that it's bothering the shooters enough to generate misses or something. But that's kind of anecdotal and not really specific from what I'm recollecting, but I did remember seeing something about that.
Yeah, very weird. All right, Gilles Gallant. Right now, you're going to give us your 2 and your 1 star. So you can just roll through the cap for both of them. Give me your cap on both your 2-star and your 1-star plays of the night.
All right. So you had mentioned a 3-point prop. I do have one in the holster here, but I'm going to be fading one. So it's 3 p.m. somewhere else in this one here. So, so we're going to do Tari Eason with the Houston Rockets. I'm going to take no 3-pointer. It's around plus 140. I will admit, looking over the last like 10 games, I'm a little bit late to the market, but I think we're just still in range where we could take an under on here, because his line has typically been around 1.5, but he's just been awful from 3-point. I mean, guys, 8% from 3-point in March. That's 12 games, like on an average of 3 attempts per game. It's just fallen off a cliff since the All-Star break. 14% shooting on just over 3 attempts. Reed Shepherd is now mixing in more with the starters, which is costing him minutes. Dorian Finney-Smith as well, facing the Timberwolves, who are top 5 in opponent 3-point makes and attempts for the season as well. So I kind of had this closer to a coin flip, so I'm going to take the value at plus 140 and do a nice little full game sweat, and hopefully he puts me out of my misery like within 2 minutes of the first quarter. And then now the 1 star. So this one, a little bit more of a long shot. It's a double prop, and it's with the Sixers. I'm going to take rookie VJ Edgecombe to have a double at plus 650. So he's got 2 double-doubles in March, but his rebound rate has just been climbing since the All-Star break. Also with Tyrese Maxey just getting more minutes, more usage. Now this game, PG-13, Paul George and Joel Embiid likely coming back. I did see Joel Embiid upgraded to questionable. That still is not a guarantee by any stretch, but he is expected to come back. I think that's going to lead to more potential assists or rebound chances, especially as a drifter. And then you're playing the Bulls, who are top 3 in pace and top 5 in 3-point attempts allowed since the All-Star break. I think that's going to allow more of those long rebounding chances as well for some of the guards. So was kind of looking at whether or not you wanted to take 10 plus rebounds at plus 725, but he actually has an assist double this season as well. So I'd rather just take the plus 650. You can cover both rebounds or assists. I think he's still going to play 35 plus minutes, because even though Paul George is coming back from the suspension, I don't think he's just going to slot right back into, 38 minutes a game. I think it's probably going to be more like 32. Joel Embiid probably won't see more than 30 as well. So Edgecombe double at plus 650 is the 3-star, and the 2-star Tari Eason under a half 3-pointer at plus 140.
Great. Okay. Like all these, Tari cannot find. It's crazy. He was automatic to start the season. Mm-hmm. Like, he was so good, and it is bad. I wrote about the Rockets today on my Substack, and there's just like a lot of questions about what Houston's doing, about what the future is. And I think Tari Eason's going to be part of that conversation as well. Joe Dellera, what's your 2-star play of the night?
So my 2-star play is Naz Reid over 11.5 points. I think this line is just a little bit light here. The big consideration for me is that obviously Anthony Edwards is continuing to be out, but Ayo Dosunmu has popped on the injury report as questionable, and I think that that's pretty important, because we've naturally seen Naz's usage dip with Ayo in the lineup, in the rotation. And I think that that's natural. He helps stretch the floor. He's pretty ball dominant type of player. He gets a lot of touches, gets a lot of opportunities here. So it kind of eats into this opportunity that Naz typically has. But without Ayo, I think that this is a great spot. In games without and Ayo, he's averaging 17.5 points per game. He scored 25 against the same Houston Rockets team in one of those opportunities back in January. Played 32 minutes, got a ton of run. I think that even if Dosunmu does play, there's still pretty good opportunity for Nas because Houston is just such a kind of like big and long team. I think that you can see potentially extra minutes for Nas in this spot regardless. I think that he gets a decent opportunity against them. And, looking back at what he's been able to do, he has absolutely smoked Houston. He has hit this in 8 straight games against the Houston Rockets. So I think it's just a great opportunity because of what their personnel is, that you're not going to see Minnesota really deviate to too many like 0 big lineups or really even only Gobert, or only Randall. I think that you're going to see a lot of lineups with Naz Reid in the rotation and in on the floor. So I really like the spot for Naz Reid. And then I'm actually going to go with Paul George over 19.5 points plus rebounds here. I do think that, maybe he doesn't come back and play 40 minutes, kind of like he had been playing, like what Joe was saying. But I do think that it's been a good opportunity for him to rest. The biggest thing for Paul George is that, he hasn't been healthy. Obviously he's been dealing with this suspension, but at the same time, he's an older player. And sure, maybe he's a little bit rusty. Maybe he's not 100% in game shape. But at the same time, the 76ers have said, he is coming back. He's not going to have restrictions. He's going to be ready to go. And I think that when we kind of take that into consideration, you have to kind of anticipate that he's going to play at least, say, 25 minutes. And if he's playing 25 minutes this season, he's been pretty solid. He's averaging in these spots this season. He's averaging 20.6 points and rebounds on the season when he's playing 25 plus minutes. So the matchup against Chicago, I think, is great. He had 27 PR against them earlier in the season, playing 35 minutes in that game. But Chicago plays at a fast pace. We know that their defense is abysmal. They're bleeding from beyond the arc. I think this is an opportunity for him to kind of come in, and whether Joel Embiid plays or not, I think it's an opportunity for him to come in and really absorb some usage. Quentin Grimes is also on the report as questionable. So just a lot of opportunity that's potentially available for Paul George to come back and just kind of get up as many shots as he wants, because Philly really needs him. And this team is in the danger zone in terms of where they are in the standings. So I think that, if he's running hot, they're going to let him play as much as he can.
I love the Nas play. The only concern I have there is they are running a second unit stagger rotation with Şengün and Jabari. And that's tough for Nas, because Nas then, I guess maybe they'll just put Randall on Jabari and then have Nas guard Şengün, and that makes him playable. If they have to have Nas in space, that makes it really tough for him. But I mean, they're not going to get away from what they do. They're going to play that lineup. Nas is going to play in that second unit with Julius. That's what they're going to run. They're going to space. And the Rockets, I think probably will get beat, especially Nas is, I wouldn't say good off the bounce, but he gets a lot of opportunities off the bounce. And those are actually better chances, I think, to score getting downhill on the Rockets. I like that one a lot. Paul George, I have no idea what to expect. No clue. No clue. He's back. He's back. I have no clue. This is a bold play. Everyone
spent the entire suspension at the med spa.
Yeah. Well, hope he's feeling good. All right, let's go over our bets for tomorrow. Joe Dellera likes SGA over 28.5 points, Naz Reid over 11.5 points, Paul George over 19.5 PR. Gilles Gallant on his Buckets debut for the season wants Jaylen Brown under 25.5 points, Tari Eason over 3.5, under 3.5. No, I'm gonna get this. Tari Eason under 0.53 pointers. There we go, Matt. VJ Edgecombe double. I've been on the screens a lot today. 2 comments. Got one gentleman who's always with us asking, at what point is SGA 20 plus points a bad bet? He says, I know Fiddle was advocating it for the other day when it was around minus 1,000 at Dellera at Ball Guy. I don't know what you're talking about. Jill has a beautiful head of hair. So I don't know what you're
for now
referring to there. Joe, what is there ever a moment when you're tempted to take these auto plays when it's just yes, it is extremely it's hyper juice?
I think the strategy is, it depends on who you are as a bettor. If you're a recreational bettor, a lot of people, I'm not going to lay $1,000 to win 100 more than likely, even though there's likely a 99% probability, because that's just it's far extending kind of what kind of stake I'm willing to do. What I would say is that for the more seasoned pro bettors who are out there, like who can get big money down on these kinds of props like that and can get it closer to tip off, those are probably the people who are able to take advantage of those lines. And then the other thing too, you'll probably nuke your accounts if you're betting that routinely. Like that's the other thing too. They'll just limit you probably. So I'm not saying it's a bad bet every once in a while, especially if you might even be able to get it below like 10-1 or something, like, because you could find some true odds that will show you that you actually will have an edge on those odds. But I just think from the recreational standpoint, chasing that kind of thing, like the idea of like, hey, if there was $100 on the ground, would you pick it up? Like that kind of thing. I think that's more for people who are doing like really, really large stakes. And I think, for an NBA standpoint, I wouldn't be betting that kind of large at this point of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it cuts a couple different ways. I think that now that he's set the record, and we're not going to talk about the playoff game that he didn't do this in. But since he set the record, I do think that, maybe it changes it a little bit. Like we saw LeBron, obviously it was an auto bet, but you started to see like this season that it was getting much more in doubt on a regular basis. Whereas with Shea, like we are kind of seeing it be in doubt on a couple of different occasions. And, I think that it's, because he's already set the record, I'm a little bit less inclined to go and play that type of line. Obviously, like here today, I like Shea anyway. So this is a spot where I would probably consider playing it. The other benefit is that with Shea, we're not like we've seen Oklahoma City put him in where they are beating the absolute doors off of another team. And it's like, it's a joke. Like they put him in to get to 20. They did it the other day against the Wizards to get to 40. They're up by like 30 and they're putting him in. It's insane. So I think Oklahoma City, they'll say whatever they want about it. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He absolutely cares. Like he absolutely cares. Yeah. Oklahoma City absolutely cares. And I think that matters. I think it would be something else. And the situation that I think would be most interesting is if they are just getting their pants whipped off and they're just getting crushed. And, then at that point, it's like, do you put Shea in? Like, because he's got to get to his 20. That I think would be the most interesting one. But it's also Oklahoma City, who just doesn't get blown out like that. So tough to say, but I think right now it's not a bad bet.
Okay. That's going to do it for Buckets. Appreciate you guys being with us. My thanks to Gilles Gallant for making his Buckets debut. He'll be with us throughout the NBA playoffs. My thanks to Joe Dellera for his work tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. More best bets for the Thursday slate. Make sure to let us know in the comments what your 3-star bet of the night is. We'll see you guys again next time. Thanks for joining us. My thanks to David Payne, our producer, as always. Till next time, let's get bucket.